One of my favorite topics because we're all in this business with a goal. And that goal that we came to and the outcome we're looking for, we are looking to build towards that goal. So you look at your contact list and then you start zeroing in who it is you want to contact. Now, inviting. What is inviting? What's the invitation? It's like dating. It's like looking for the person that you want to marry. You want to get in the rhythm with the person. You want to get to know the person because it's more about what they're wanting and how much you care about them than it is what comes out of your mouth. So the key in inviting is finding out where their pain is, going and kind of having a little bit of chit chat, talking to them a little bit about themselves. Use the form that we talk about in the Getting Started packet, the Fast Start packet, using the family, occupation, recreation, money. Some examples would that be is seeing, do they have family issues? Do they have family that's being sick? Do they have recreation that they never get to do? Do they have a house they never get to go and experience skiing? Do they have a trouble with money? Do they have somebody that lost their job? Are they worried about their bills? At the end of the year, do they make less and pay more? Those kinds of things come in the conversation, and it makes it very easy then for you to identify where to go next. There isn't a script that's the same for each person. You have to feel and gel with that script. What you're looking for creates the script. I use the example of a doctor. So you go to a doctor's office, you sit down, they don't write a prescription because they don't know the problem. But they ask questions. They engage to find out what it is you're here for. And then they say, you know what? This might be a suggestion and a way to help you. It's a practice of medicine. They don't know the answer. We don't know the answer, but we're giving suggestions of how we might be able to help them. What are some tips and things that you can look at as far as what made someone from where you are today to a team elite? What's diving in? Having a list ready to go, knowing where you're going, knowing your outcome, and diving in. So I want you first to go to that Fast Start packet and pull it open. Read through it. Start talking to your upline, working with them on what works. Do some role playing. That works great. And then there's nothing better than getting into action. Literally going out there. And you know what? It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's like putting two left shoes on one foot. Why would you do that? But you've never done it before. The first time you do anything, it's going to feel funny. You didn't go off to college to get a diploma the day you started. So you get into action, and you've got to be willing to be bad enough to be good enough. And the only difference between someone that has achieved and that someone hasn't is they just have to go through the journey. The journey is the reward. And you will laugh through it. You will cry through it. You will experience things and go, people are the craziest. But it's all about that person on the end of the line or in line or at that event, and it's getting comfortable. Interesting process that happens when you go through the workflow. It's kind of like driving. You can't just decide you're going to drive unless you know how, and then you start driving and you practice, and then you get in the car. You have to decide where that car is going to go, your outcome, your goal. You then have to focus on who's going to be in there with you, those things that are going to be taking place, those contacts. And then it's the act of actually inviting. And then once you've invited them to look at something, the presentation happens. You can't give a presentation to no one. You can't build a business without anyone. It all comes together and it's all part of a flow. And Brent Bryson says it perfect. I love it. When you figure out the workflow, when you go from point A to point B and you do it over and over and over and over, you now have mastered the business. So what you want to do is dive into your prospects, start focusing on those leaders, those people that you feel like have the characteristics. I will tell you one of the key things to anything in this business is edification. Throughout the entire process, edifying the system, using the system, knowing that you have a system and the comfort level that happens when you edify the person. You would be great. You have this characteristic. I saw this in you. And really complimenting not only the person on the phone, but the system that they're taking a look at. And so you want to look at the Fast Start Pack, start looking at some of those inviting scripts, start getting comfortable by just dialing the phone or standing in line and having conversation. Are you going to be perfect when you start inviting? No, you're not going to be perfect. But how do you get to be perfect? How do you perfect it? Well, one of the things that my coach told me from day one, and it just let me be who I'm going to be. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. But also goes with that is you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. And it's all about timing. And so this interaction, it might be 30 seconds, it might be 2 minutes. Whatever that interaction is, there might be things that you said wrong, that did wrong, you felt it was wrong, you got up instead of just messed up. But that might be your blue diamond 2 minutes from now, 2 years from now. You might have developed a relationship. And so keep in mind when you're prospecting, it's not about you. It's not about what they're going to say. It's about how you can assist. And the timing might not be right. So example is, you're going to get a lot of no's. People are just not going to be ready. They're not going to be ready to hear it. Guess what? I was a no for a whole year until I was ready to come back to the person. But that invitation is key, because if you don't invite, they don't know that they have something to come back to. It's key that the invitation happens and you realize that just like dating, you might go on a date and it doesn't work out. But a year from now, it might work out. So you just keep inviting, you keep inviting and keep inviting, looking for those gold nuggets. After you do this 500 times, are you going to be nervous? Absolutely. And here's what I suggest, is that just go through it, push through it. The other thing is I learned along the way, I get nervous still today. And I realize when I get nervous, I'm focused on myself instead of service to others. And when I start focusing on the person and visualizing the person, sometimes it helps putting a picture of that person or somebody in front of you and talking to that person and realizing it's not about you, it's about them. And then their nervousness goes away and I can start sharing. And that's how I learn to invite. That's how I learn to present. That's how I learn to do things all the time that don't feel comfortable, is realizing it's not about me and what I want, it's about how I can serve others.